Alright folks, this is a video on how I install acrylic eyeballs into the Frankenstein monster and how I do make them bloodshot. First thing I do is I go around the rim of the acrylic eyeball with this red silicone. It's RTV silicone. And I go around each rim, the edge, so that it kind of fills in areas it might show through on the mask if the eye holes are too big. And I'm squeezing the tube of caulking around the edge of the eyeball. Now I'll pause in a few places in here where it just goes on forever. I'm going to get a little silicone on my finger while I'm doing this one, I think. So you're going to do that around both eyeballs, or as many as you want. So these eyes aren't designed to have a back on them, which make them fully rounded. These were just like buttons, I guess. Now I'm going to pause this again, and when I get the other eye going, I'll play it. So you notice that's what I'm doing. I'm going around the other one. So we'll come back to where I start cutting the mask eyes out. So anyway, you get the idea. And this red RTV silicone, you can buy at home stores, Lowe's, Home Depot's, hardware stores. It's probably about $7 for a tube, if I remember correctly. So now I'm taking an X-Acto. Usually you want to get a brand new blade, and you're going to cut around the eyeball inside where the eyeball meets the eyelid. Try to be careful and get a nice even straight cut. Sometimes you have to go in and recut some areas that don't go all the way through the rubber. And you have to go at it from different angles. You want to try to go at it where you're kind of going in down behind the eyelid a little bit, so that the angle of the rubbers or the latex is a little more subdued. So this is where I'm cutting it out. And almost done with this eyeball. And actually the mask eyes, when you add a little bit of vessels to them, red eye, and then clear coat, real glossy clear coat nail polish, the eyes actually look pretty doggone good. But I don't know, I enjoy customizing, so I take these eyes out, and I'm going to put these acrylic eyeballs in. So I'm cutting this guy out. I think I just about got it. There it is. And that's it right there. Now I'm looking over the eyeball of where the ball used to be. And there's the acrylic eyeball that I'm just kind of fooling around with it, placing it into position on the mask to get an idea of how it's going to look. And it looks like it's going to be okay. Sorry for the dark video. That doesn't really show the best detail on it. So we'll start cutting the other eyeball out. So I cut that one out the same way. And there's going to be some unpainted latex that will show up around the edges of the eyelids where you just cut the eyeball out. So you're going to want to go in with acrylics or black magic marker or red magic marker and touch those up. I do a little marker and then I go back in with some paint and paint them. So I'm just kind of fitting those things, and the next thing I'm going to do is remove the wig head out of this thing, which I've got a wig head that I've taped with Gorilla Tape, and then I have a plastic bag wrapped around it to make it easier to slide out. If you notice, I've got tape on the back of the mask that I'm trying to remove to open the mask up. It's bad detail work there, bad camera work there. Now I'm trying to pull that head out, wig head. I usually foam fill the masks, but this one I put a wig head in it so it could be removed in case somebody wanted to wear it as a mask. Didn't have any takers on it, so I decided, well, I'm going to stick some eyeballs in it. And I may just foam fill that thing at the end anyway. I'm going to mount it onto another body, and then I'll have them displayed for Halloween. Or I'll put them on the market. I usually list them on Craigslist, stick them on eBay. eBay just gouges you with fees. And then of course shipping this thing would probably be a couple $100 minimum to ship a 6'4" monster that's been basically took apart and put into a tote. So where I'm drawing in the eyelids with a pen, permanent marker, getting some black around there. I actually will go back in and touch them up with some acrylics. Just getting all the white latex, light unpainted latex covered up. And a fine tip marker usually does real well. I'd like to use red one and black both. I couldn't find my red markers. I think I used them up making the monsters. So that's got this guy. Looks like I see another little area I need to touch up, but you have to go at it from all kinds of angles. All right, now I'm going to just play with an eyeball again. See how it looks. There we go. There's an eyeball. He's looking around. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put these on a piece of Gorilla Tape or black masking tape and fix them to the inside of the mask. Now I've got two sets of eyes. I've got one dark brown and one called infected brown, which is more for use for zombies and things. So there I'm taking this eyeball, pushing it against a piece of Gorilla Tape, and now I'm going to mount it into the mask and try to position it so it's looking in the direction I want it to with its kind of rolled up into the eyelid look. And then once I get that done, that's what we've got. And that's just using a couple of pieces of tape to hold it into position. And then you can foam fill it with a plastic bag inside in case you ever have to maneuver it again. So that's that guy. Pretty scary, huh? How that I paint paint the blood vessels. Maybe the red eye. I'm using acrylic craft paint that I bought at who knows where, somewhere cheap. Take a real fine tip brush and go very fine, very faint. Try not to make them thick. And dab a little bit onto my thumbnail to get it off of the brush. Okay, and that's how you do that. I'll show you this eyeball. There you go. Move stuff around too much, don't I? So we'll come back after. That's going all the way around it as thin as possible with those veins. And actually I've done a red wash on them before too. On the vampire I actually did acrylic and watered it down and just let a red wash over the entire white of the eyeball. And it turned out real good. You can look at my Hammer Films Dracula video and you'll see where I've taken a pair of eyes very similar to this. They had red irises and then added a red wash to give him those Christopher Lee vampire eyes. So this is what I'm doing with these little eyeballs, putting veins in them. This is the second eyeball. And after I paint them, I'm going to let them dry and then I'm going to switch out the eyeballs. I did both sets, I think. And I used something happened to that paint. I got it all over my fingers. I had to wash my hands several times. I'm going back in with a brush and some paint, and I'm using red this time, that red that I used for the eyeballs. And I'm going in on the under the eyelids and touching it up. I taped one back into position. And now I'm getting ready to put this other one back in, which looked like I was just out of camera range with that. Now there he is, blood vessels and all. Old Frankenstein. He'll get his eyes set properly. So I'm adding, getting the eyeballs into position now, and they've had the red vessels on them, and I think the eyeballs are in a pretty good position. And you notice they're kind of just up underneath the eyelid.
Not a day.
The next thing I think I'm going to work on is the neck bolts. There's a contact that goes on the neck bolts that's not on the mask, and I'm going to show you all how I did that for the monster. Be right back. Alright, this is how I make the neck bolts. The contacts that go on the neck bolts. I've got some old stiff telephone wire, and I cut it to the length that I think it's going to need to be, and I bend it. You can also use tubing and just wire. So I found this old wire in my garage, and I've cut and bent these things. Now I'm going to take a nail and I push it through the contact, the bolt, and create a hole. And I also can take a Dremel with a drill bit and round that hole out, clear it out a little bit so it makes it easier to get the wire in there. So there's where I've stuck the nail through, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to feed this phone line, flexible, bendable phone line, through the hole and get it set up. Sometimes it's hard to line it up. The mask is battling me. But I'm going to get that through there. If it kills me, I'll get it through there. There we go. Now we got it. Now, there it is. You're going to do it to the other side too. Now we're going to put it through the other one. We did our nail through there, created a hole. Now we're running our contact through there, and there we go. Now we have the bolts in the contact rod there. And then we're going to paint them. Now usually we can just take them out, paint them, and then stick them back in. But I decided to take a shortcut for this video. I'm going to paint them here in just a second. So that's that. Get an idea. Neck bolts look a little more authentic now. Eyeballs have some redness to them. Sorry for the blue color. He looks good in blue, doesn't he? So here we go. I've got some metallic, chrome metallic finish Rust-Oleum. Got my little paint plate. Spray some of this Rust-Oleum chrome in there. I've got a very fine brush that I've used to apply this chrome paint before, so it's actually stiff. Not usable for doing anything else but applying the paint. And I'm simply going to paint those contacts, being careful not to get it on the mask. And we're doing that on both of these things. We're not going to get any on the mask, and it's better if you take them off, take them out, and just paint them and then put them back in, and then touch them up where need be. So that's how our bolts are coming together. So this guy's almost ready to put on a 6'4", 6'5" body. And hope you all enjoyed this creepy, messy, poor quality modification video. This is doing the monster's eyes and doing his bolts, neck bolts. Those eyes appear blue in this video, but they're actually a kind of a zombie brown. Alright, y'all. Well, take care of yourselves. Stay warm. Springtime is just around the corner, and Omicron is helping us all get more protected. So don't fear the Reaper, folks. Have a good day, and we'll see you again. Bye-bye.